Okay, so a new series starting today. Very often you've heard me say moments of pleasure, small and often, are what get you through the day. So on the this first video of the new series, I just want to tell you quickly where that came from. So it goes way back to when my daughter Charlotte first started to be ill, which is now probably about, well, it's over 25 years ago, when she was a little girl. And she had to go for various appointments even at the doctors that weren't pleasant, or at the hospital. And we had to take her out of school to do that. And so I started to say to her, what shall we do after your appointment? Something that she would enjoy, which of course I shouldn't really have done because she was taken out of school. She should have gone straight back to school. But my heart just melted for her. I know. Anyway, that's what we did. And so, I mean, I'm not talking anything major. We may have gone for lunch afterwards, or I may have taken her into town, or just something the two of us would do together. And she started looking forward to these appointments. She'd say, have we got any appointments coming up soon? Bless her. And, you know, as I say, it was probably the wrong thing to do, but it worked for us. And so that's what happened. Now, over the years, and then when it came to my mum and my sister, who also were ill and had to go for these ghastly appointments, we would do the same thing. Now, of course, they had to go so often that it couldn't be anything major, no big things. But we would start to do these things, and when you have to actually think about what's going to give me pleasure and schedule it in, it's amazing what you come up with. But it's also amazing what you become conscious of. So if you go through at any given day, busy, and you're never in the present moment, you're always thinking about what happened yesterday or what you're having for dinner, what's moving ahead. So talking about mindfulness and being present in the current, in this moment, and what you can see around you that you might take some small pleasure from, became something large, or loomed large in our lives. And then when Charlotte became, this last time that Charlotte became ill, then by golly did we do some good things when she, this time when she had to go for appointments. And it worked. And so now I've been left with using these moments, small pleasurable moments, to get me through the day. Not them, to get me through the day now. And I ask you to do the same, because it really does work if you're feeling a little bit down, or the key is to schedule things in to your day that you know are going to give you pleasure. Now, I'm not going to be telling you in this series the small things, the tiny things, like I can see a rose bush that I planted right outside my window there. I'm not a gardener. This is my first foray into planting anything outside. I love plants, and I plant inside, and I love watching things grow. But we haven't done anything with the garden yet. These roses are in a pot. And as I sit here and I just catch the colours of that, it gives me joy. And so that's a kind of umbrella thing of where all this came from. So I'm going to be choosy about what I tell you. I don't want you to be, oh, Christine, this is so dull. You know, I would hate for that to happen. But I just want to tell you things that happened to me over the course of a month, let's say, that brought me joy, that might do the same for you. Either watching me or visiting somewhere I'm going, or you might think to yourself, I'll try that, and it might give you joy too. That's the idea. Okay, so let's get on with the film then. And first off, the first thing sees me in the kitchen. I know, make sure you record it just for evidence that I do sometimes foray into the kitchen to do things. This is not cooking, by the way, but anyway, here we go. So welcome to my kitchen. Yes, I do sometimes venture into the kitchen to cook, not often, and this isn't cooking. But I did want to show you this because remember we've talked many times about the fact that broccoli is a superfood. And I've also probably mentioned that whereas I love broccoli, Mr. Kitchen does not. He doesn't like it at all, not even the tender stem broccoli. It's not for him. So I've been trying to think about ways to get him to eat broccoli, you know, without covering it with unhealthy sauces and that kind of thing. Well, I came up with this. Let me show you. Sorry, I wasn't prepared. But here we are. I came up with these. Look at this now then. These are broccoli seeds, raw for sprouting. Now, let me see if I can show you what they look like. You may have done this. You may have done this. I remember my grandmother doing, my mother-in-law doing it with alfalfa sprouts. Looks like that. Those are seeds. And I'm sprouting them. Now, how am I doing that? Listen, this is, it's the easiest thing in the world, especially since I bought myself a thing. Let me show you this thing. I guess you call it a sprouting kit. Now it comes in layers so you can sprout more than one thing at the same time, but I want to show you what I've done. Now I'm just going to have to turn you down so you can see this. Ooh, gosh, I didn't know I could bend that far. Okay, I'll put it there so you can see what the seeds look like when they go in. So I'll leave a link to this actually because it's amazing. It's such a simple, you know, can you see? That's the seed. Those are the seeds going in. That's all I use. Okay, so this is going to last, that packet of seeds is going to last forever. Now, all you do with that is get yourself prepared, more prepared than me. All you do now, I'm filling this up with, well, this is actually cold filtered water. All you do now is simply pour the water in the bowl and make sure that the water covers this red suction thing, like that. And that's it. That's all you do. The top goes on there. I leave that, oh, the top goes on there when you do it properly. I leave that on my counter, on the worktop, because when it's growing, it looks great. And I come down in the mornings and look and see how my sprouts have grown. And within 2 or 3 days there, you have the most nutrition-packed broccoli sprouts ever. Now, the research I've done on this, these sprouts are more nutritious than the real thing. Mr. Kitchen loves them, so this has worked really well. Let me show you. This is what they look like when they've grown. Look at that, from that little seed. Now, these have probably got about 24 hours to go before I will harvest them. But what happens, I'll show you later. I'm sure, if you've done it before, let me know. I might be teaching my grandmother to suck eggs, as the saying goes. Why I wanted to tell you is these are so packed full of vitamins, minerals, trace elements, all the things that we need. And you can use them everywhere. Mr. Kitchen puts them in stir fries, he's putting them in soups, he's putting them on salads, of course. I sprinkle it on cottage cheese. It's absolutely wonderful. It's a great taste. They keep in the fridge for about, I'd say, 3 days. Now, once this is harvested, once I take those out, I put them in a sieve and wash them thoroughly. Now, if you have a salad spinner, that's the best thing to do then with it. Put it in a salad spinner, because a salad spinner gets rid of a lot of the seeds. Now, I don't mind the seeds, but you might. So a salad spinner will get a lot of the seeds off. And then make sure they are thoroughly dry before you put them in. I put them in a glass container and then keep them in the fridge for 3 days. And then if you've got more in your thing, in the layers here, because when you water that, the water trickles down. I don't know if you can see, it's trickling down into that bottom layer. So you can be sprouting alfalfa sprouts at the same time. Pea sprouts, I've done those. And all of these things give you more nutrients. You do have to be careful in as much as make sure you wash them thoroughly when you take them out of here, and make sure you dry them thoroughly before they go in the fridge. But they are amazing. I'll show you when we come to harvest them what they look like. Okay, so I've harvested some of the broccoli sprouts, and I'll show you. You'll see I've taken the top ones out, but you can see I've still got a second layer underneath that will be ready in, I would say, probably another 2 days. So I'll just leave those like that until they're dry, and then I might block them on top with some more kitchen paper, and then I'll pop them in the jar ready to go into the fridge. So here we are then, from tiny seed to the finished most nutritionally packed broccoli sprouts. So delicious. Nice piquancy to them, like a little bitterness that, especially with cottage cheese, is really quite nice. It cuts into them. And as I've said, salads, you name it, you can put these in it. Isn't that great? Now, maybe all of you do this all the time. Maybe this is something that I'm late to the party at. I mentioned that my mother-in-law used to do it, but she used to do it on the kitchen windowsill in a jar. I'll leave the link down below to the sprouting kit if you're interested in starting that. Okay, next up is not really a small thing at all. We went away for a few nights recently. We went down to the south of England to see my son and his family. But we stayed in the grounds of a castle. And I want to show you this. Now, I must say that I do have a tendency when we go to these places to get carried away. I love architecture, I love art, I love history, and as I say, I can get carried away. So if ever that happens when I take you on a visit, tell me in the comments. Wind it in a little bit, Christine, you go on too long. This video itself could go on for quite some time, so I hope you've got yourself a coffee or a glass of wine if it's evening. This next little video is me at Leeds Castle in the south of England. Now, I did limit what I talk about in this film because I'm going to leave their website down below, which is packed full of information about the place. But and you'll see that although this is, obviously it's a castle, it's a huge thing, but one of the things that gave me the greatest pleasure was just a small corner of, anyway, you'll see. Watch the video. So this is the beautiful house we stayed in for a couple of nights whilst we were there. And just look at this on the doorstep as we came out. I mean, beautiful English countryside with blue skies and sunshine. Oh, doesn't happen often, but magnificent when it does. And this was a maze, you can see here, just filled with beautiful flowers. There was a Mediterranean garden at the back of there too. I mean, if you're into flowers, just a fantastic place to be. And if you think that's impressive, wait till you see this. Oh, look at this. This is Leeds Castle. I mean, it's 1,000 years old. Look at it. It's just so pristine. And if you're a golfer, you can be playing golf right there by the moat of a castle that's 1,000 years old. I mean, this was our view. Oh, you can see there they were preparing for a joust. Where better to hold a joust than a castle that's 1,000 years old? Unfortunately, we couldn't stay for the joust, maybe next time. But this was the view when we were having our gin and tonics at night. Now, oh, just how joyful is that? Absolutely marvellous. And this was my favourite place of all time, outside. Now, if you've known me for any length of time, you know I have a penchant for stone walls. Well, get this for a stone wall. My goodness, what's happened there over the course of 1,000 years? What makes this stone wall is the greenery and the flowers you can see there to the left. This film does not show by any stretch the colours and just how stunning it was. Look at that. It's just sensational. I'm transported back. I am transported back 1,000 years. I could have just stayed there the whole day. Just so evocative, so full of history, or should I say her story, so full of her story. We're all about the 6 medieval queens who called this place their home, including an American heiress. She wasn't a queen, she was Lady Bailey. But yeah, I think you can get carried away with thinking about time periods in history and what went on near these walls over that course of time. Oh, and then how very dare they, a 21st century motor car drives by. Goodness me, if anything's going to snap me out of my historical reverie, that would. But seriously, yeah. Stunning, absolutely stunning. So this is the entrance to the castle, and you can see there's nobody there. Nobody there. I know you've had enough of the stone wall, so just let me show you around. So the moat is fed by this lake, which is beautiful. There are actually places you can stay by the lake, which we didn't know about. And then the peace was broken by the hordes of tourists that started to arrive about an hour after we got there. And there we are, back to my beautiful, ache with joy when I see this. I know, you now know that I'm a weirdo. Wow, wasn't that spectacular? Now, if you are in any other country, well, or even in this country, but if you're in any other country and you are considering coming to England for a holiday, put Leeds Castle at the top of your list, or up at the top of your list as one of the castles. You know, if castles is on your list to see when you come to England, put Leeds Castle on there. It's quite spectacular. And I didn't get a chance to show you the inside, the interiors, which were very heavily influenced by the American lady, the Anglo-American lady they call her. In fact, the interiors all the way through. At Leeds Castle at the moment, they are focusing on what they call herstory, as opposed to history. So her story, because they talk about the 6 queens who called the castle their home and their influences on that. But it was the, I've forgotten her name, the American lady I talk about at the end there, who had the most recent influence, obviously, and that's very Parisian and 1920s. So you'll see on the website how interesting that is to look at. And if you are considering coming to England, let me know. I could write out the most amazing itinerary for you. But yeah, Leeds Castle is one that must be on your list. Okay, so next up is me back in the kitchen. It's only a small thing. Okay, doke, still in the kitchen. Something that was absolutely delightful happened this month I want to show you. Look at this. Is this not just stunning? Black and gold packaging. And then when you open it, like this, inside is a pot of honey. Isn't it lovely, that? And do you know something? This was a gift from someone I haven't even met yet. Well, I like him already. Just let me show you this. It's now, I've been eating this, of course I have. And you know, when I did, I'd done a video on the benefits of Manuka honey, which I'll leave down below. And in that video, I talk about adding a teaspoonful of honey to your hair conditioner. I don't do that with this because I don't know if you noticed on that packaging, look at it, 1500 plus, and it's 28 UMF. Now I think I probably am used to eating 20 plus, 25 plus. This is one of the most power-packed strengths of honey you can possibly buy. You know, Manuka honey is from New Zealand. It's the only place that it can be harvested from. And if you go onto the website, I'm going to tell you about it in a second, it does show a beautiful film about what it takes to actually harvest this honey. And that lets you know why it's more expensive than your average honey in general. But this particular strength of honey is like the next level. And I've thoroughly enjoyed eating it. Now, as I say, this was a gift from someone I haven't met yet, and I am delighted. He's probably not watching, but thank you so much. It's the most delightful, thoughtful gift, because he heard I was a fan of Manuka honey, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. Now, once I've finished this, unfortunately, I will not be replenishing this exact same one. It isn't in my budget. It might be in yours. Go to this website, the True Honey Company, because what this honey has alerted me to, apart from the fact that it's absolutely delicious, like gold precious delicious, it's alerted me to this company. And when I went to have a look on their website, they do sell honey of a lesser strength for a more affordable budget. So this is where I'm going to be getting my honey from. This is not a sponsored video, by the way. It's where I'm going to be getting my honey from now on. But yes, I've been having a teaspoonful of this every day. Now then, of course, the fact is, even though it is so good for you, it is sugar. And so if you remember, we talked about sugar spiking and so on a few videos back. And so I've changed my way of eating kind of around that. And in the mornings, as advised by, and I've forgotten her name, I'll leave that link down below too, to eat savoury first thing. So my first meal, what we would call breakfast, doesn't happen for me sometimes until 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I eat savoury at that meal, and then what a normal person might eat for breakfast, honey with granola, and I've even started making my own granola. I might show you that at some point. But with a teaspoonful of this honey over the top, so this comes later in the day, it's absolutely mouth-wateringly, savouringly delicious, and I'm incredibly grateful to you for sending this to me. Thank you so much. Okay, so that's the True Honey Company, Manuka Honey, bringing me joy on a daily basis. How lovely was that? What an amazing gift to receive. The gift that keeps on giving, because I'm still eating it a teaspoon at a time. I'll be very sorry when I get to the end, let me tell you that. But yes, go on to their website too, the True Yogurt, because I'm thinking about yogurt, the True Honey Company, Manuka Honey Company, because that film that shows you how they harvest is quite intriguing. Yes, so that was that. Now I would have liked to give you some ideas about things I've watched on TV, but to be honest with you, I'm struggling at the moment in terms of series. I enjoy thrillers. I enjoy spy, especially spy thrillers, those kind of things. I enjoy those. I have watched a film recently that I was very surprised that I enjoyed. In fact, I watched part 1 and part 2. And that was Dune, D-U-N-E. Now, this is not a film that I would choose to watch. However, the boys in my family, Mr. Kitchen especially, are very interested in fantasy. And so often I find myself forced forced to watch a film like this, a science fiction film, and I must admit, although I don't admit it, I do tend to enjoy it once I watch it. But June I really did enjoy. I think it's because it has it has a storyline. It's quite a Christian storyline in terms of a Messiah coming, a Saviour coming to help them, and knowing that, it's really quite interesting. So I would recommend that, despite the fact that you might look at it and think, Christine, what are you talking about? That June 1 and 2, I think you'd have to watch 1 to know what was going on. So I enjoyed that. Now, of course, I'm also looking forward to Downton Abbey series coming out, hopefully soon. Under normal circumstances, when things like that happen, when a successful series has been on and then they bring something back out, or another film or something, I tend to think, it's not going to be as good as it was. But anything with Julian Fellowes in it, I would watch and know beforehand it's going to be amazing. Now, I don't know if you know, but Julian Fellowes has written lots of books and I've read every single one. I love his writing. It makes me laugh. I'll leave a couple down below for you to have a look at on Amazon. But if you like Downton Abbey, because all of his writings are about the British aristocracy, apart from the latest one that he's done on America. That's an excellent series too. I've forgotten the name of it offhand. But yes, I'll leave a couple of books down for you to read there, fiction books for a change, that are excellent reads. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there for this time. Let me know what you think down in the comments, if that's given you any ideas. I think what I'd like to leave you with is just to say, A, be more conscious about what you're looking at, and B, schedule things. Deliberately schedule things into your diary, because I know if it doesn't go in your diary, very often it doesn't get done. Even if you put 2 o'clock, sit down, read a Julian Fellowes book till 2:45. If it's in your diary, you'll look at it and you'll think, yeah, I think I'll do that. Just sit down with a coffee and read a Julian Fellowes book. Okay, I'll see you next time. I do hope you've enjoyed that. I will do another one, probably in about a month's time, if that's okay. But I'll see you before then. Bye-bye.